Good evening, everyone. And my name is Tim Timal. I'm the host for tonight. I want to welcome you all to NTA Live's premiere event. And first of all, I would like to talk about our communications director, Errol Fabian. He was in an accident. And I want to wish him all the best. I'm sure that from all of us, speedy recovery. And thoughts and prayers are with you, Errol. Stay strong, brother. Okay, we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce on my left here. This is Paul Nahus, coordinator Northwest. And I'll skip and go to the other coordinator East. That is Insaf Inaitula. And and one of our deputy political leaders, Lauren Pushet. Right, so let's get right into it, guys. What's going on in Trinidad right now? The budget, flooding, arrogance. I mean, what's not going on? Right, so let's start.
You'd like me to start?
Lauren?
Okay, great. The budget, I listened to a lot of it. I got some documents. I went through them. I looked at allocations and deliverables and so on. And it appears to me that it is a budget where the rich will get richer. The middle class will probably be disseminated even more than it already is. And the poor will just slide even further into poverty.
So basically, we were warned by the Prime Minister when he said that the issue is not about, he has no problem with the rich getting richer.
No, he has no problem with the rich getting richer. But the challenge is that while you may be giving certain things because you have to tighten certain things, you also need to ensure that the economy is stimulated, because even the rich will want to run at a point in time because there'll be nobody to buy their stuff. So for me, I was very disappointed, particularly when I looked at the areas of education and the areas of tourism, because I felt that there was no sort of plan to take us forward. Now, when we talk about tourism, people think of, okay, people come here, they go and do their sites and attractions, and they spend money doing that. But there's a lot more than that. You have tourist boards, you have restaurants, you have hoteliers.
What ecotourism? We're
Yeah, ecotourism.
We're an island.
But in Trinidad and Tobago, all they say is the belief is that Tobago has tourism. Real tourism. We're supposed to have events and conferences and carnival. Yeah, events and conferences and carnival. But there is so much more. I don't know if you all saw recently when National Geographic was here. They were out in the bird sanctuary and they were saying that this is one of the best wildlife sanctuaries in the world.
The bird sanctuary is particularly lovely, and I think it doesn't get it.
It's a Ramsar site. So it is an acclaimed Ramsar site. And we have a lot of sites and attractions. We have a lot to offer in tourism. They've been focusing on carnival, and they also focus on cruise tourism. Now, it is very interesting because when cruisers come here and they go on tour, if the roads are a mess, what do we? If crime is all about,
that's a good point to segue to Insaf, because your specialty is in construction and that kind of stuff. Tell us about that. How that interfaces with the other aspects of Trinidad and of governance, which she talked about tourism. She talked about we could talk about the health. We could talk about the fact that people have to travel tremendous amount of distances, and if you have one issue on the road, that adds half an hour to commute.
But when I looked at the budget, and it was to my surprise, the construction industry, construction sector was hardly mentioned. It wasn't even mentioned at all.
Right.
And okay, so we may not have the money allocated for big projects, for mega projects, but part of construction is maintenance, and maintenance is something.
Why do you say that again? Because I think most people don't understand. Why do you say that again?
So in Trinidad, when we hear construction, we think about construction as building a mega building, a 50-story building, a new hospital, or a new educational facility. But construction goes as far as maintenance. where we don't look at in this country. We always build something new without any plans to maintain it as we go, right? And it goes back to the Ministry of Works. Now, what happened to the road infrastructure? Why it is we don't have proper road facilities when we supposed to have the largest pitch lake in the world, right?
My understanding is now they're talking about going concrete as opposed to pitch. I mean, I got
when I
You know, he said made a very important point, which it reminds me of the young man who the piece of the building fell on his head, got stitches.
Oh, young man, it's a boy, a 13-year-old boy.
a child.
A child.
And from what we understand or we hear in the media is that they have been reporting the state of that place for the longest while. So one time you're going to build a new place and you haven't even fixed those that the young people are already in.
And you've had 2 years of schools being closed down.
Yes, that should never happen.
And when we talk about
that, we have so many people can get go to rehabilitate these buildings, and that creates employment.
And this is the thing that where I looked at. We have so much. I mean, I don't know the proper term is the small men, right? Who's into construction. You have masons. You have skill. Well, I like to call them as skill workers, right? But you have woodworkers. We have plumbers. We have welders. What is going on with these people now that there's no project that is taking place in this country? But as I mentioned earlier, we may not have those projects, but we have room for maintenance. Look for that school, for instance. Why it is we didn't have someone, why don't we have someone inspecting the schools on a regular basis? These are children looking at the age under 16 and under, going to a school with parents who trust that the children will reach the school and come back home safe.
You're trying to protect children with Children's Act, but you can't secure a school, safeguard a
Paul,
school.
I want to bring you in here because what he's saying basically is that we have a deterioration and I guess a lack of maintenance that is happening. Yeah. Now, you were the TTPS when our
about 3 years around
was there, right? And we saw the opposite. We saw the public trust and confidence in police go from 14% to 55%. Yeah. We saw murders and crime, record reductions, right? How could that have happened in a country that
management? It was management. It's leadership. What he did there was, I used to jokingly say, well, he like commission, he's the CEO of police because he was acting like a CEO, like how you manage a company, and that's how things need to be managed in terms of your state enterprises, in terms of your schools or so. They need to be managed as if it is a for-profit company in the way that you study, public safety for police, that is your profit. Making sure the education of the children is number one priority, educated children in a safe environment, that is your profit in that. So, for example, now, in terms of how much money they would spend, how much you're going to spend now to repair this thing where the slab fell, as opposed to if they had consistent maintenance work. You would have saved that child there, as well as, because the child, it's not just the physical injury, the child is now traumatized.
And other children as well.
And you don't know if the 6 stitches or the 5 stitches have dealt with the problem.
Right, because
well, there's other issues. And then we go into this now where there's a lack of trust, just like there's a lack of trust with police previously. There will now be even less trust in the education system. The system is not just teachers, it's not just a syllabus, it's the physical infrastructure of the schools. It is the ability of the ministry to keep children safe, because when you send a child to school, they are now in the care of the school. And in the care of schools, we are seeing children are being stabbed, concrete stabs are falling. This is in the care of the school. I mean, when you drop a child to school, you don't have to worry about those kind of things.
And Lorraine, we have an example of that demonstration of care, sarcasm, of course, that happened today, right? Where the ministry and the minister herself puts out a release that we will not have in Trinidad after 7 o'clock in the morning. Well, what happens to those children?
One of my very good friends called me very angry because she's a principal of a school, reached the school on time, teachers were there, children were being dropped off, and then this came. Now to worry about how do I get these children back home safely? Because not every parent could have been accessed at the time.
But I will ask this question. What time did the minister think school starts? The school does not start. What time
I mean is this: school doesn't start at 7. School starts at 4 a.m. for some people. When you have to get them again, that's when school starts.
Exactly.
When you start to get your children ready and you plan out your day, your work, everything.
But
That's
then you're looking at parents who have to reach work 4-7 and have no choice but to have this children in school by that
4
time.
o'clock in the mornings for some people. That is when school starts, because that's when, for some people the night before, when they have to raise transport, school starts for them the night before.
And I saw the argument on social media, people saying, well, parents should have known. But the ministry is ultimately responsible for the safety and security.
It's also someone else's fault.
We have a juxtapose. You see that statement? You need to juxtapose that statement with the fact that there is a caveat against the teachers that they cannot do any kind of action. They cannot take time off.
Which makes sense.
So they would have gone out to work, everybody, unless they were told that there was some kind of threat, and they would have stayed home. So all the teachers would have very merrily gone on their way to work because they do not want to go against the ruling that was given that they need to go to work. Yeah.
Teachers have children.
So you cannot say you make up your mind whether you want to go or don't want to go. I heard somebody told when people were calling in, well, you can make your own decision whether you feel it's safe for your child to go or not. That's rubbish.
We depend, but well, in that case, then we should make our own decision, read any weather. Why we have ODPM for? We need the agencies that have the information and supposed to have the communication. Part of their job is to inform us and to guide us as to what is taking place and what the right course action should be.
But Paul, it's just a phone call away. When we have to go down the island, what do? We call the night before. They might office. What's the weather going to be like?
I mean, what you use it
and it's up now.
Let's go back to this whole question of, the alerts and that kind of stuff. So they got it right. They stopped there. They issued a release for no school the night before. What happens is it that we disconnected? Is it hubris? Is it that
don't care?
Because they just don't care. Because look at what we saw. We saw cool pots and those.
Is it just mass incompetence?
Based on the press conference that I listened to today, I heard because of the COVID we can't afford to close school anymore. So what it is it that the children, it's better to sit down into the classroom where in some of these schools that ODPM use them as shelters. If in the event that they have to prepare these schools for ODPM to come in, the children is there, then you have to get the children out and home into safety.
Is it not admitted when you make a statement like, because of COVID we can't afford to keep it closed anymore? Are you admitting now that your treatment of education and your system that you put in place during COVID to make sure children are educated, are you now admitting that has failed and that is not feasible?
So guys, I want to go to a break, right? But I want to say that the LAMP model, LAMMP, is something that is part of the ethos of the NTA. And what that stands for is leadership, accountability, management, and measurement of performance. All the things that seem to be lacking in this country. But
lacking in the budget.
And lacking in the budget. So, but we'll get back to that after this break, and we will be showing the short video explaining the LAMP model and NTA's ethos and vision.
The symbol for the National Transformation Alliance is the guiding light, with a bridge to the lighthouse. A lighthouse with imagery of rays of hope can be construed as either leading the lost to the way home or as shining a light toward the way forward. The bridge is formed by the centric constituency of persons holding hands, creating the pathway to the light. Either trajectory offers hope, inspiration, and a sense of pending transformation toward a more constructive and conducive pathway. The essence of the lighthouse is in tandem with the ethos of presenting a transformational platform with 4 key pillars to further develop all offshoot management paradigms. The 4 key pillars or rays are leadership, accountability, management, and measurement of performance. The LAMP model. The LAMP model is in sync with the lighthouse construct as it illuminates the visioning of the structure of the transformational trajectory and the methodology used to apply it to governance.
All right, we're back. I'm your host, Tim Timal. We are at the NTA Live. As you can see, we have some of the governance team members. In Safina Tula, Deputy Political Leader Lauren Boucher. And Paul now is, and the areas of expertise, Paul is Police tell us exactly what is the area of expertise.
Security. Let's just leave it as security. Let's just leave it as.
Lauren is wears so many caps. She is in tourism,
but also in
counseling and people stuff. And INSAF is in construction and
Design.
and architecture and that kind of stuff, right? So,
Comments.
right. So we're gonna look at some comments,
There we go.
and just give me a sec.
We're not TTT, so we don't drop off the comments, right? We can take the comments, right?
You should have been somebody. I don't call any names.
Yeah, we don't call names.
We don't call any name, but you should have.
Screen.
Right. So we have let's go. Good night, everyone. Hi, Clifford is a boss. I'm a partner. Right. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it.
That's the comment.
No, plenty more.
Plenty more. We need on the screen. Share.
Share. Clifford, yeah, we share it, man. All over. Hey, Kendall. Nice to see you out there. Ronda.
Sit around.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches, Kevin. Good night.
Hey, I know Mark. We're very well too. Hi, Mark.
Hey, good night. We have a lot of people on.
Comments are just flying through.
Kevin, nice to see you.
That's one of our governors.
And I wishing Errol, well,
Yes.
wishes and recovery. I see that coming up.
Errol well. Errol is such a part of Trinidad and Tobago, so a real people person. And I want to mention, one of the things I see in this government is two things. I think there is a certain sense of patriotism, and I don't talk about we are number one American kind of patriotism. I'm talking about real patriotism, putting country first, putting people first, and then there is you guys work amazingly hard. I am amazed at how, kind of hours. I wonder sometimes about how, Paul and interview are going to see Lauren. So like calling you early in the morning and late in the night. I'm really, really enthused about what I'm seeing with the NTA. And I want to refocus on some other things.
We should look at what is going on right now in the country with the recent flooding, the impact of that on the citizens, because it's gone crazy for the last couple of days.
And somebody also asks, what are our solutions? So when you can get around to that, and I would just like to make some suggestions.
I think that's going to right now.
Let's go into that. That's important. I'm pressing issue.
No, because we need to have some suggestions. One of the things I would like to see when budgets are presented is for us to understand what was allocated, what was used, and what was given back.
Absolutely.
And for them to account for it. That's a good recommendation. I think, because it's our money. Yeah. And we need to know how our money is being spent. How can we trust you by telling us, give us some more, and you haven't told us how you spent this money. That's number one. I want to also say something about the education. Now, we open back gates and we've closed down last year, we bring back gates. One of the things that, I have been thinking, and I think NTA is really on board with this, is that we need to do a sort of an analysis, a needs analysis of where we need to put our money for education in this country. Okay? Do we need more doctors? Do we need more lawyers? Or do we need social workers? Do we need psychologists? What do we need? Do we need more people who are skilled, mechanics and so on? Where do we need? What is our need in the nation? If we do a needs assessment, then we can do an allocation per sector with maximums. So if you are gravitating toward becoming a mechanic, then we'll say, okay, we have funding for so many mechanics so that you can get gates. We have funding for so many social workers so you can get gates. But you see the doctors, we have a lot. We're overburdened with that.
You're seeing that as hypothetical, right? Just seeing this hypothetical.
No, I am
No,
saying,
because I don't want to speak out all those figures. I don't know. Lauren,
no, it's not hypothetical. It is what NTA will be aiming to do, because what we hope to do is to give all our people a fair chance.
Where we need
all.
I don't understand where we need it.
You mentioned education yourself, and we had the CSEC results came out a few weeks ago.
So you're a lecturer. You're a lecturer.
right? I lectured at SBCS for a few years under the state card, but I want to touch a little bit on the CSEC exam. And there are students who went with 16 years of education and didn't get the passes that they want. Is there anything put in place to counsel these students or advise them on a way forward? Because sometimes some of these, you mentioned mechanic just now, right? Sometimes, why do we have to wait until they reach age 16 to learn mechanic or learn woodworking or wood? Can we put something in place?
In terms of, look at what's going on in the country in terms of disaster, right? In terms of the flood, in terms of that. Going further into education, what do we need to do in terms of education to bring people to a state where they can, if it's engineers, if it's those type of things that could assist in terms of, are we going to expand the fire service, those type of things? Because look at the country has been, and I want to go back to that because we can't ignore what has happened yesterday, what's happened today.
Yeah.
There are people who want to be here with us in studio and can't be here because of whatever flood and whatever breakdown. And I mean, yesterday I was at work and I had to send home all the administrative staff at a certain point in time early in the day. I had to make a decision. All administrative staff had to go home because it was just getting worse.
Well, because lives are much more important than any kind of administration. And what they said today is, is because of COVID, children to do. What kind of thinking is that?
Nonsense.
But you mentioned, so most of the flood took place in the east yesterday, right?
Is there two things apparently it takes part at every point in the country, but at different point in time.
But do we have an evacuation plan set for in case of in that emergency you need to get your workers out? What is put in place?
I like that because we have two people here, and these people wear so many cars. I tell them I'm these and the NG people. We have somebody here from React.
I'm a React. I'm also certified, which means that I'm a community emergency response team.
And then we have Paul, who was on the
chairman for disaster for Martin while I was older.
Right.
And that was running. We had that thing running like that disaster even Diego Martin, and I hope it's still in a similar state, but it was self-contained. We used to, right there, ODPM contact us. We had our own storm tracking center. Right there, we listened to releases from ODPM and stuff. Yeah, we set up that release before. We track for our region and local.
You're still working, Paul, because I get in the emails.
Very good.
I get in the
I'm
emails.
very glad to hear that we are tracked, that we are doing that type of stuff, that we are still going on.
You have to be on stand. Well, I don't know what's actually going on within the office, but to be on standby.
Search, we are doing in terms of search. Someone's asking some their thoughts on MP asking person.
Okay, one question. What's your thoughts on MPs asking persons to ride their bicycle to work and cook using coal pots? Isn't that the job of the people in power to make sure we move forward as a nation and not backward?
Well, the bicycle tires will go forward.
I think the comment was an insult to the people.
No, we can find humor and everything, and that's a Trinity thing. We was always, making memes and that kind of stuff. But this is some really, really, really insulting, arrogant.
It was arrogant, detached. Totally arrogant and detached from the people.
I want to just address very quickly in terms of the policy he was asking for regarding finance and stuff. That's not a subject for tonight, so just not to ignore you there. But he's also saying too that that's how people in power are feeling about us because they don't feel the pinch of it.
Right, because they put on blue lights and they run through the traffic. They don't have.
Does it disconnect with reality or they're in an alternate reality?
But
It's just okay. Maybe it's just okay.
Well, when I just say once you drive in a nice air condition and you don't have to worry about those things anymore, you lose touch.
all right, I want to.
Tim, take a look at the screen there.
Right, okay,
Sure.
so happy to see the real entity discussion on political started for the second in a long time. I feel like the rest of the world is moving forward once. I totally agree with that person, right? I agree. Sometimes it feels like, a lot of us travel. And when we go abroad, we see things and we're like, why can't we have the same things?
It's simple as Canada. When you go to Canada, you walk on the road, not even a buttercup, you will see. I saw a photo today of the Carnegie River with so many bottles and branches that block the river.
And Lorraine, we talk about that whole integration of all the arms of government, right? So like when you said tourism is affected by the roads. Who is who's thinking about those things?
Let me tell you something.
Tourism is affected by the garbage in the
People
rivers.
would tell us, Tobago don't send nobody to Trinidad. And I have to tell them, Tobago used to send people to Trinidad because there were flights that would go directly to Tobago because that's what they wanted. But Tobago now will sell a day into Trinidad. But they can't anymore because it takes a horrendous amount of time through the traffic to get from point A to point B to point C. And hold on a second, Paul. And what that does is take away from the immersive experience of the visitor. So they prefer to stay there and enjoy there. And even those people we have here, it is a horror to get them from one point to another because of the roads, yes, because of the traffic, secondly. And thirdly, because we have to think very carefully about where we're taking them because of the crime.
Yeah.
That's a big one, and I turn that one over to Paul.
I mean, come to Trinidad to come to what? To be shot and robbed? Because we are going on 600 murders nearly by the end of the year. So when you could have the nicest hotels, you have the nicest of everything. And if governments abroad are sending out messages to citizens saying do not visit this place because of crime and issuing terrorist warning issues.
Right. I got that today from a friend in Florida.
And you know what we like to do? We like to say, well, look, these are fighting us now. No, they are genuinely concerned for their people, not because we are accustomed to the crazy state of things. It means that other people are accustomed to it.
And not only that, Paul, people who are talking to tour operators, my husband is a tour operator, when they are coming to us asking for quotations and different things about the country. The last one I got, the person said, could you also include for me how much it is for an armed escort? An armed escort? Never have I had that kind of request. An armed escort.
So you're going to the waterfall.
So you're going to the waterfall, they want an armed. You're going to the picture, they want an armed escort. You're going anywhere, look, they want an armed escort because they are so terrified when they see the thing. And people, when they go to a country, they want to know, not that they will be absolutely 100% safe because there's crime everywhere, but they want to see that the country has put in place a process.
Kendall, NTA.
But right.
No wonder we are so bad.
Well, I mean, that's what starts. If a leader does not have empathy for the people they are leading, then what is going to happen?
But today in the press conference, as you say, you're talking about heart. I have a heart for people is out there trying to clean their homes, trying to looking for food to put on the table tonight because whatever happened, appliances need to be purchased. And at that press conference that I saw today, the property tax was mentioned. Really? The property tax was mentioned in that. That is why we need the property tax, and that is what it was said.
So, like citizens more.
And Lauren, I think you and I spoke about this whole idea that we cannot tax ourselves out of the problem.
No, you can't.
And Paul, you
if you tax, it's going to finish at some point in time. What are you doing to stimulate the economy?
Paul, you spoke about this recently about how there are lots of people out there who are living, on hampers, on charitable others.
Well, ashamed to say I can't remember the quote because I can't remember who said made the quote, but I'll paraphrase it. So I quote about what the Minister of Finance is doing for years. To try and tax a nation to prosperity is like standing up in a bucket and trying to raise itself by the handle. But if we don't have the money, if money is not circulating and people do not have the money to pay for their basic needs, not wants, basic needs, then what is tax going to do to them?
Yeah.
You're not even going to be able to pay the tax because what the government's going to start seizing everyone's houses, or if you don't have a house, what are they going to seize? What's what people are going to do?
That's all. There's a lot. The allocation of the funds doesn't seem to have equity. And equity, when I talk about equity, I mean focusing on the areas that really need the funds from the budget. Okay, it appears to me that the funds are being allocated to mega projects.
Right.
Projects where money can slip through the floor. If you understand what I mean without saying,
A friend says
that. So,
sorry.
You don't say that?
Misappropriate funds if you're not spending. Yeah.
And the thing is that why tourism, for example, which is a pet peeve of mine, is so like an outside child, is because it is an intangible product.
Right.
It is you can't get anything out of that. You could get it out of a hotel, yes. Maybe you could get it out of a site or attraction, but the actual immersive experience that we are creating, there's no money to be paid on that other than your normal taxes that you would pay for earning money over a period of time.
Lauren, going into your point about tourism, ecotourism is something that should be thriving here. But look for example, the hunting season has opened again. And where was this talk about making sure that hunting is properly regulated and making sure that the environment is properly preserved? That where is it? No talk about that. No mention about that.
Yeah.
And what they say is that a former minister who left not too long ago said when I asked about it, well, we don't have enough for this, so we can't do that. But you have budgets coming in. It's because you're not putting resources into that, into the ecotourism.
Yeah.
And I keep on stressing ecotourism because we always studying carnival and party and this and that. I don't want to. I mean, carnival is a show by itself, but.
Carnival is 2 months of the year. What happens?
No, not even 2 months. Look at it this way. You're looking at carnival and saying greatest show on earth. Okay, go to carnival in Rio.
That is British.
So we don't have anything to compare it to because we grew up in it, we love it, but we don't have a realistic comparison.
Guys and ladies, what I'm hearing from you all is two things. One, there's a disconnect.
Correct.
Absolutely, there's a disconnect, right? I don't think there's any person in Trinidad and Tobago who was genuinely happy about coal pot and not eating ham and sacrifice, getting up early, right? I mean, I don't know anybody, we could all agree with that.
There's a difference between sacrifice and aggression.
Absolutely, right? But I want to link it back to the other thing that seems to be coming out here is that you have to figure out a way to connect with people. And your budget or your ideas or your policies have direct impact on people.
I think for you. Wait, so no, you can learn.
We're talking about policies. Let me just talk about tourism in the budget. You came and you talk about a $600 million hotel that you opened, which was mainly construction that rented it out for owning the rights to it or whatever. What trickle-down effect did it have in the industry? None. Absolutely. None of these stakeholders would have benefited.
But you are NTA, so the minister could dismiss you.
Oh, yes, but he dismissed me long before. He's been in power in that position for 4 years and I've never met the man. You know, that is a very interesting thing. We have associations that are really connected to tourism associations. I made a call to all of them to find out, were you consulted before this budget? No. So all of us presented, there's no collaboration. So the disconnect we're talking about also relates to the fact that they are not discussing with, collaborating with stakeholders, private sector associations, practitioners on the ground who can bring information to them to help them. Sorry, what did
one of the things you and I spoke about was if we do things better, right? We allocate all these 5 billion and 7 billion and budgets are what, 55, 60,
56 billion or something. I can't remember, something like that.
Right?
Something like that.
And you ask yourself, as you said, what is the accountability in the next year? Nobody comes and says, well, listen, this is my report card, this is what I promised, and this is what that's really what our budget is supposed to be about. But you talked about how saving money in an area of construction, if we were to do things better, procurement legislation. Talk to me about that, about the speed. I saw an article that you wrote. You were talking about the inefficiencies in paying contractors leads to not only corruption, but
we have a few comments there. Just to point out to Tim after this.
All right, yeah. So I want to we will come back to that, but let's look at this.
That's what I was saying.
Content that for okay.
Kevin, put who? I'm ashamed to say I forget because I've quoted so much. Who that quote came from? But thanks, Kevin, for putting the actual quote there. Carney Swamp. The Carney Bird Sanctuary tours. That should be a massive thing. That should be promoted a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to book
online. It's true. No, it's true. But then again, the
and you run the pay. Then we run them.
I don't know what you run over there running.
Our financial tourism, absolutely correct.
Well, technology, going on what Simone is speaking about. Look at what they did to the beaches. Maracas Beach is not Maracas Beach anymore.
It has been destroyed. When they were coming up with the plans for all those concrete things, we said, no, that is not Maracas.
I can tell you something. Marcus Beach turns into a pool when rain falls. The car park, right? Yeah. And safety. I have a problem with parking the car park, crossing the road and going to the beach with my kids.
Right? That's a problem because they are kind of like bosses. and leaders empower the people with two success. Absolutely.
Daughter, how you going? Thanks for
So good. So we
and that's something we're going to take another break and talk about the bridge constituency, which is another part of the issues of the NTA. But I want to talk about the whole idea of as we were talking about the saving of money and how that could be reallocated to help the people at the lowest.
No, but help everything.
But in fact, let's take the break. I want you all to see the bridge constituency, but that is such a fundamental part of what the NTA is. It's about bringing people together. It's about the lamp in the middle, and it's about uniting and drawing people together, because we know that united we are much stronger.
The bridge constituency. For many years, citizens who have not voted based on traditional lines have been coined as the third constituency. In addition to denoting a sense of coming thereafter, there are a number of negative connotations associated with this phrasing. Alternatively, this mass of non-based voters presents an amalgamation of differentiations, making it very challenging to formulate one segment of a label. That being the case, this constituency forms the bridge between the two main political entities, not only in terms of political frameworks, but in geographical, financial, and ethnic lines. Essentially, this bridge constituency forms a centrist class. The bridge constituency not only fills the gap between the two, but it also creates a balance between the various traditional voting biases, at times shifting this balance to one side or the other, causing a winning shift along the way. This bridge constituency creates the pathway for the traditionalist to move forward toward the lighthouse.
All right, and welcome back to NTA Live. My name is Tim Timal, host today, and we have Paul, we have Lorraine, and we have Insa. And unfortunately, during the break, we got some really terrible news. And Insaf, my condolences.
From all of us on the team.
Yeah.
He just found out his cousin was murdered.
Crime is
We're close to home.
So it's home. Crime is home.
And you literally just confirmed that.
Right, and the only thing about it is, who's doing anything about it? People are so fed up of this crime situation.
Well, Gary, we feel something about it.
Gary was doing something about it, and maybe some people didn't like what he was doing.
Well, you are on the panel here today, you are the security expert. You are the one that was the belly of the beast. You're the one that, when I see you communicate things that I didn't know, or I found out.
Things I wouldn't say on air, but yeah.
Say what you say on here. Talk to us about national security and what that really means.
The first thing I'd say is that in Trinidad and Tobago, right now, everybody's just waiting to be a victim. If it hasn't hit home as yet, you're in a very, very, very small percentile. No, I'm telling it's nobody's reality. That there's nobody, I'm sure there's nobody in this country that if you speak to has not them or their family, someone directly related to them has been affected in crime. Everyone has been affected by crime in a drastic way. Everyone is a victim in waiting right now in the country. We are around number 4 in the world in murders. In the world, how many countries in the world? 156 or something. Whatever. How much ever? Are we hitting 4th in terms of the amount of murders per year per capita, the murder rate, as well as we were rated, I think in 2018 or something, number 6 in crime. It has gotten worse now.
You mentioned almost everybody was touched. At the end of last year, I was told at one point, and my brand new vehicle I purchased was taken from me. My daughter was in the vehicle, was almost taken away as well. And I actually want to bring up that up as well.
We have seen in the last year, we have seen things that we thought were a thing of the past in terms of kidnappings, and now on every crime that was almost snuffed out in the last few years, in the last year, has resurfaced and come back about. And horrible. I think criminals are being more fierce, more vicious than ever. And look at the armored, the cash in transit. It was not an armored vehicle, it was a pickup. Look at the cash in transit robbery. these guys came out of a vehicle and opened fire. It was assassination and then a robbery.
There was no hesitation for
They opened with what, something like 100, well over 100 rounds of 5.5 SAG ammunition. They came out of the vehicle, automatic fire, and they opened with that.
And that's another thing I've noticed now is everybody. Okay, so we're gonna
Take a few comments.
Rhonda, thank you very much. It takes 2 years to get an appointment to open an account in this country. That is amazing. Oh my goodness, it's stifled. Oh my God.
You know, I want to respond to that. That is very true. And that is why Mia Motley from Barbados said that she's going to talk to the banks about how they're doing business, because you are keeping those people who don't have accounts and who want to become entrepreneurs very depressed and down on the bottom level of the ladder for economical benefits because of all these stringent things that are happening in the banks.
Everyone talks about empathy, no compassion.
Agree there. But that's tough. When you have leaders that speak to people in terms of law-abiding citizens, like they themselves are criminals,
Or children.
or children in such an angry, aggressive manner to people, and he's speaking not to criminals, to people who are law-abiding citizens in that manner. You're empowering those who want to be violent against them.
We have a Minister of National Security who once said that it's not his responsibility to protect the people of the country.
And we also
I
have
saw yesterday saying what? It's not the Minister of Labour, it's not their job to provide jobs or something like that.
Yes.
and we also have a Prime Minister who felt, as the head of the National Study Council, felt it necessary to, for want of a better term, inject himself into the process for the murders.
I know it's not a discussion for tonight, but we have to make it clear what the National Security Council's function is, because with the utterances of the last few years, some people are under the impression the National Security Council is the first and last say in all matters of national security. So I'm not going to go into what it is, but we have to clear that up. That's not.
Somebody mentioned, messaged me to talk about this idea, because they asking us what is different about the NTA. We could talk about what is happening now and the arrogance and the disconnect. One of the things that I know for a fact is that politicians are interested in power, whereas statespeople are interested in empowering. And one of the things that drew me to the NTA was the fact that Gary Griffith always speaks about reducing the powers of a prime minister.
Accountability.
Yes, it's reducing the powers of the primacy. The primacy has too much power
because
in this country because we have eroded all the constitutional checks and balances.
Right,
with the simple majority nonsense that they put in place a couple of years ago.
But even the first past the post system and not having a proportional representation does
one of the things that we need to think about when people ask about the difference between the NTA, the NTA is not beating its chest and saying we're going to fix things for you.
Yeah.
What we are saying is you and us going to fix things. So this is a partnership. You got to work with us. We don't have a magic wand.
Akil, I know it's not happening all at once, but I think it will be good for you all to try to complete something one at a time.
We have to.
We have
a lot of things to discuss.
We're excited. Sorry about that, but you're right. Yes, you are right. It can be quite confusing.
We have a lot of important topics and unpleasant topics as well.
Since the current administration is not doing okay. Thanks, Amar. Hi, Shumeen.
How are you?
Very nice to you. Correct. Yeah. But I want to go back to this idea of reducing the powers of a government. One of the things Griffith always talks about is state boards. I know you were on state boards. I was on a state board. I saw some insane things on a state board. Tell me about Griffith's idea about reducing powers on state boards.
I agree with that because I think if we have whoever's in government would have the majority, but you must have some dissenting voices who could bring some balance to the situation. And I remember working on the NEDCO board under the partnership in the early days, and we had people from all the various groupings that made up the partnership. And we had dissenting opinions because you had unions represented, you had but we sat down and we worked it out for the betterment of the people that we were supposed to serve. And it was all due, I think, really and truly, I have to compliment the chair of the NETCO board. I don't want to put anybody's name out in the public, but the chair at that time, she was brilliant because she encouraged, as a good leader, she encouraged that let us articulate and then make decisions for the better of everybody. And that's what we need. So I agree with that.
Right. So if it is that we were to, because we know that any corruption happens at the board level, right? Because
Directed by the ministerial level. I mean, you know, that's where we're not strangers to it in terms of what we are seeing.
if we want to have a model that Griffith speaks about, and this doesn't take any constitutional majority, doesn't take anything.
We're just proper separation of powers.
Yes.
Right? And it about that 80% being NTA and the 20% being opposition, so that we can have accountability. So if you're doing something, I can watch you and vice versa.
Someone's asking about democracy. I would like to actually take that one, right? In two answers. One is that not just at the state board level. Should we have a regional corporation under our, I don't like to do control on our management. That if there's somebody to chair a committee who is of the opposition and they are competent and they're doing a good job, I am welcoming to that for them to head a committee. Not you said you can't just give positions to everyone that you support.
Absolutely.
But they're also creating positions.
And then we have, for example, what was asked about democracy. And I'm not going to have words in any policies, but I know that part of it is about this thing. It's
Constitutional reform.
Constitutional reform. It's about having recall. It's about having people's voices heard. Maybe referendums. I just say these type of things are used in other countries to ensure that the people are involved in the governance process. Yeah. We have to have stakeholders involved in the governance process to know the process. And at the end of the day, who are we serving if we are to be in positions of power? Who are we serving?
Absolutely.
Who's paying our salaries? Who is the ones that put us there? Who are the ones to keep us over? Who are the people?
Well,
has to be in their hands?
You see, the issue is that people who are living off the country are now in a position.
Basically, giant working subsidies.
Yeah, giant working subsidies, telling the rest of us and telling people that it doesn't matter. You have to go to a court.
If you're using that model, you go back into that issue of proper leadership, of accountability.
Absolutely.
Of measurable. If you put a measure now, take all the metrics around the country and measure where it is now, and look how low it's gone. All the measurables are in the gutter, right?
Tim, I would like to put a question to who is listening to us and let them go and do some homework. I have not heard in the budget, nor have I seen, and I have overlooked it. Is there an allocation towards paying the debt that we owe as a country? I did not see that. Therefore, if there's no allocation, if we're supposed to pay back 10 billion, and we didn't put that in the budget because loans have to be paid.
That's our next government problem when it comes up, right?
Yeah, no, but what they do, I think, is very creative accounting in that they allocate funds to all the various ministries, but they don't disburse. And when they have to pull money to pay that, they pull it from the allocations.
Well, the allocation releases to different ways.
You understand? So it's no releases. Right. I don't know if that is so I'm putting it out to the public. If they could find out what is the method and process they do that with, perhaps they could educate us so that we can talk about that some more the next time we come on.
Definitely.
Yeah, that sounds like
another question that I got is, when I see all this, right? We had a very successful meeting organized by Paul and a really great group of people.
Okay, I don't think the team was
including led by Lorraine and Audrey, really great people. But they want to know, because they heard about the constituency connection caravan, they want to know what's up next. So we have
a schedule, right?
We have a schedule. We have 2 coordinators here. I know that we have couple of events coming up in Barataria. Tell us about that. Not just Barataria and East West Corridor.
Well, Lorraine asked when she's coming. I'd like to invite you to come by in Barataria on the 19th of this month. We will be having a Connect Caravan, and it starts from I'll send out the details, right? As everything is going to be put on NTA page, through Facebook, media. That's fair. But make sure and keep that day clear. The date set is on the 19th of October right, from 7 to 9. We have said that. And we're going to hear from the political leader. I'm hoping to hear from Mrs. Griffith, right, and other members of the team on that day. But we're coming hard and strong
And
because
I like what you said, like and share the page. And all those who like what they heard here tonight, like and share.
I ain't stopping there now.
Where's stopping?
Because from there we're going to St. Joseph.
Okay.
We're going to Tunapuna, we're going to Aruka, we're going to Arima, we're going to Grandi.
No, we get the first one, so somebody else has
We'll negotiate, but they go on 10 days, man. Come on.
Well, Paul, we actually have.
Because I'm gonna be there to support you when you have it.
Paul, we actually somebody to ask us in Laventille to come. And we're in discussions with them now.
That's under my area.
That's your area, right?
We have to organize.
Tentatively, we're going to be in Laventille on the 25th, I think is the schedule, right? There's again, follow our pages to get more details and whatever.
And I just want to make an appeal on behalf of the group, the NTA. Anybody who likes what they heard here tonight, anybody who believes that they can be part of the process, please contact the GenSec, please contact the NTA office. Please respond on the
Make a message.
and message us, message the page that you are willing to work with it.
If somebody is asking about how they can contribute, donate, and that kind of stuff. All right. We have
I think I was going across the screen.
across the screen. All right.
And again, look on the NTA page for those updates.
All right.
But we need hands on deck. We need hands on deck.
4 minutes left. All right. I want to leave on a high. Right. I want to leave on a high because we know a lot. Okay, Simon.
About using KPIs.
Yes.
KPI to them is a fact, right? They don't know KPI meaning. Obviously, there's no key performance indicators being used. I think right now.
Any of the ministers, any of the ministries.
They can't be.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, man. We are also really, but I want to end on a high note. So, guys, people want to know tell me something positive in your particular area that they can look forward, whether it's your constituency connect, whether it's your particular area in teaching and education or in construction. Lauren, likewise, or like something positive to end this.
I just start with the constituencies, right? One of it was based on as a connect caravan. I want to connect my areas, like my the different constituency along the east, regional corporations, what the area that falls within that. I don't want to know, we are living in Trinidad and Tobago, we are citizens, and we all must come together to make a difference, and that is my plan. So I am not there for Bartai alone. I am there to go straight across the Togo, right? And in the field of construction, I want to change some things. And you were going to ask that question, we didn't get to it. But next time, I will touch on how I plan to save some money, how I could suggest saving some money.
That is important. Maureen, tell me something about it.
I would like to be in a position where we can meet with the various stakeholders and where we can listen to their needs. And these needs inform our policy as we move forward. This is not about us just deciding something and pushing it down your throat. This is about us working together. I would like to see us be able to meet all the various organizations, private sector, whoever is willing to meet with us, for us to be able to understand what their needs are, which will inform our policy. And I would also like to appeal to the people out there, reach out to us, work with us, because as I said in that meeting in Diego Martin, if we don't do something now, when are we going to do it? It has to be now.
Paul?
So to close off, I'll say a point on security and then Diego Martin quickly. In terms of security, we have the plan, we have the model. Why? Because we have a political leader who was doing it for 3 years and had proven by all metrics that we know how to handle the crime situation. Arizona tuning in. And I will comment on Diego Martin in that I want to meet with the stakeholders, Diego Martin, the people of Diego Martin. I have already seen with my eyes the concerns, living there I know the concerns, but I want to speak with the people as well. And I could promise them this, that should NTA be in control of the region, when NTA is in control of the region, I could guarantee you something. We're not going to have a leader in place who treats their own constituency as a bastard child.
And Tim, somebody just asked if they're going to be all over the country, north, south, east, and west. I think yes.
North, south, east, and west. So my final statement is NTA is the way. You want to come, we contact us on 482-4279. Look through our social media pages. You can WhatsApp, you can Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We all over. This is about reaching and connecting and embracing all the citizens of Trinidad. This was NTA Live, and we're going to say
Thank you.
thank you very much.
We believe.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Insa. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, Trinidad and Tobago, and
We
looking
believe.
forward to serving you.